In this section, I will introduce you to machine learning. You must have heard of it or read about it, but if you are not clear that what it really is or you know about it in bits and pieces, this section should help you put things in perspective and build some intuition around it. So let us first answer the question, what is machine learning? Machine learning is programming the computer to optimize, that is to maximize or minimize the performance criteria based on past data. Even more simply, based on past data, your machine will improve its effectiveness of performing a task. Below is an analogy of how machine learning is similar to human learning. Humans observe the actions and outcomes and keep them in memory. This learning turns into a skill for a human. Similarly, when we will give past data to our machine, our computer will learn from that data and start performing better. And if its job is to predict, it will start predicting better. You can probably imagine why everyone is talking about it. Two things which have given it further boost are the ability of today's machines to handle huge data sets, and the second thing is the ability to collect so much data. Big companies like Google and Facebook have so much individual data with them. Even political parties are collecting data to create effective campaigns and win elections. Good governments are collecting and using data to create effective public schemes and meaningful policies. Within organizations also, if you are a working professional, you would know that at lower levels, only basic data analysis is being done, and that too for MIS reporting. But at higher levels, predictive and prescriptive models are being built to help in decision making and business strategy formulation. Machine learning is a tool which is helping in creating these effective prediction models. There are few terms which are being used interchangeably these days. However, they have a minute difference between them. The difference between machine learning and statistics is that statistics is the maths and it provides us with some mathematical models to analyze the data. But machine learning may not be based on a statistical model. Most of the times it is, but it is not necessary. And secondly, one major part of machine learning is programming, which is why in this course we will pick up one statistical model and then learn how to do it in popular data programming softwares. When we compare artificial intelligence and machine learning, you can think of it like machine learning is a part of artificial intelligence, the part where intelligence is being gathered by learning from experience of past data. Comparing machine learning and data mining is difficult. You can think of data mining as a tool to be used by people to gather and process data. Machine learning can also be part of this process, but there will be some person doing data mining to achieve a particular goal, whereas machine learning can be a standalone organism performing a particular task effectively. Let us see some examples now. It is said that PayPal uses machine learning to predict fraudulent transactions and prevent them before happening. Similarly, this is something every one of us would have seen. Google is able to predict what we want to search basis what people around us are searching or basis our own search history and numerous other predictors. There are several other use cases of machine learning which I have categorized basis the industry. In banking, telecom and retail sector, companies are using machine learning to identify the prospective customers, good or bad customers, the satisfaction level of each customer. They are also using machine learning to effectively use their advertising budget so that within the same budget they can get maximum number of sales. They're using it to decrease their credit risk by identifying the good customer and then assigning appropriate credit limit to that customer. As I told you, PayPal is using it to identify frauds, so that will lead to fewer frauds. Machine learning can be used to identify potential detractors, the customers which are going to stop using your product or service. In biomedical and biometrics, machine learning is being used to diagnose a particular disease more effectively, or for drug discovery, that is to identify which drug works more effectively on which particular disease. In biometrics, you must have realized your facial recognition software in your mobile phones, or your fingerprinting device in your mobile phones is getting better day by day. That is due to some machine learning algorithm running behind it. Computer and internet have been at the forefront of machine learning. You may identify these devices: Google Home, Amazon Echo. They all have inbuilt machine learning algorithms, and these bots, such as Siri, Alexa, all these have machine learning running behind it. Your Gmail can automatically filter spam mails. Google can automatically identify the language of every website and suggest us to translate it. All these are examples of machine learning. Now let us enter the world of machine learning based on statistics. Here our agenda will be to find the relationship between input and output variables basis historic data. For example, consider a real estate agent who wants to put a price on a particular property. So the output variable for this person is going to be the price of the property. Next, this agent has to intuitively decide which factors may be affecting the price of the property. Some of them which I could think of are the area covered, number of bedrooms, proximity to landmark, proximity to market, and so on. Mathematically, the agent wants to establish price as a function of these variables. There can be two motivations behind estimating this function. One is prediction, as we saw for our real estate agent who just wants to predict the value of the property. Prediction means we are just interested in getting the value of y and not in the relationship of y with each individual variable. Second is inference. Here we want to establish the relationship between each input variable and output so that we know how output will change when we manipulate input. Suppose instead of real estate agent there was a builder. That person would probably like to know whether building near a market fetches a better price or building near a school fetches a better price. So that guy's motivation would be inference and not just prediction. Basis our motivation, whether we want to infer or whether we want to predict, we will choose the model for analysis. Because when we want to predict, we want the prediction to be accurate and we do not care if we understand the model or not. There are some models which fit the data better, however, are difficult to interpret. Such models suit prediction. But there are some models which may not predict as accurately, but we will easily make out the relationship of variables from these models, that is, they have more interpretability. Such models suit inference. So basis the motivation, we will choose the model. Now there are two major classifications of models. Some models are parametric in nature and some are non-parametric. In a parametric approach, we assume a functional form of relationship between input and output variables. For example, if you think that there is a linear relationship, we have already assigned this functional form to the relationship. Now we will find the best values of A0, A1, A2 so that the predictive values of price are as close to the actual values. But in a non-parametric method, we do not assign a functional form to this relationship. The functional form itself is estimated by the model and it could be quite complex. For example, in this image, a three-dimensional spleen is first drawn by the model, which is as close to the points and has a smooth surface. We later identify the function at each of these points may be very complex and it may be very difficult to interpret that what is the relationship between each input variable and the predicted output. So as you can imagine, it is going to be easy to interpret the result of parametric model. However, it may or may not fit the data as well. But non-parametric model will be potentially able to fit the data better. However, it will be very difficult to interpret the relationship among the variables. Also, non-parametric approaches usually require larger amount of data to train. So once you know what your motivation is, you know the type of model to use. Now there are two types of learning basis the data we have. When your data has a particular output variable and one or more input variables, our model will learn from this data that what values of input give what output. We have seen the examples of this type of data, and this type of learning is called supervised learning. However, if you do not have any output variable, but you just have a set of variables and your model is learning the relationship between these variables, it is called unsupervised learning. This basically helps us find the underlying structures and patterns in our data. Let us look at these two types of learnings from an illustration. Suppose we have this data. We have 4 images and corresponding labels against each. Since these images will be our input data and these labels will be output data, this is supervised learning. Now let's say that the labels are category and weights. Now we give this data to our learning model. Now if I present this image to our model and ask it what category it belongs to, this becomes a classification problem. The model has to learn from previous data and classify the newly presented data into a particular category. So this is a supervised learning and the problem is a classification problem. Another example of classification setting is credit scoring. If we want to classify customer as high risk or low risk basis their income and savings, I can train my model from my past data and maybe get a result like this, where I have a particular value of income and savings above which I can categorize the customer as a low risk customer, else the customer belongs to a high risk category. So I am able to classify the customer into these two categories. On a graph, this will look something like this. The customers belonging to this area will be low risk customers since they will have income more than a particular value and savings more than some other particular value. The customers which are belonging to this red region will be high risk. Other applications of classification problems are pattern recognition, face recognition, character recognition, medical diagnosis, web advertising. Now instead of classifying, if we are estimating the weight of product, which is a quantitative variable, this becomes an example of regression, where the model is based on supervised learning. Another example of regression problem would be estimating the price of a used car. Here we will identify the attributes of car which may affect the final price of that used car. And if we assume that there is a linear relationship between the price of data and the car attributes, we'll have something like this: y is equal to some function of x and some constant. We will use the past data to identify this relationship. Graphically, it will be represented like a straight line, and these are different data points that we have from our past data. And using this line and inputting the car attribute, we can predict the price of some other used car. Other applications of regression analysis is weather forecasting, sales forecasting, advertising budget allocation, or product pricing. There are several algorithms under supervised learning. Most popular are linear regression, logistic regression, artificial neural networks. k nearest neighbors, and so on. In unsupervised learning, we do not have any output variable. We will just provide these 5 images and ask the model to group these basis similar properties. Maybe basis object shape, it will make 2 categories of apples and bananas. Maybe basis object color, it will make 3 categories of red, green, and yellow. Or it may find some other important characteristic which I am missing. Here is a list of some popular unsupervised learning algorithms. For clustering, one of the popular ones is k-means. Another popular unsupervised learning algorithm is factor analysis or principal component analysis, which is used in dimension reduction. And there are some other algorithms also. These algorithms will not be part of this course.